Yes, people, what's going on? Man knows football. You already know what time it is. I've got my brother Matisse here in the building. You get me? Make sure you do like, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Almost said in the comments. Leave your thoughts in the chat as well. Obviously, we will be interacting with the chat. Matisse's details are all down there in the description as well. Make sure you click them. All of them are clickable links. So I've done all the hard work for you. All you have to do is hit description, hit the link, and boom, you're right there, fam. But big up everyone in the chat. Big up yourself, Matisse. And we have had a bit of interesting news today regarding Paul Pogba from Manchester United apparently being open to Premier League moves. Now, you see, when I read in between those lines, Matisse, yeah, obviously this is going to be a big topic. It's not just about whether we want Pogba or not. We've got to address everything around Pogba and what's needed if we need anything else before Pogba. So we're going to make a proper discussion about it. But for a player of that quality to be available, and obviously with his chemistry with N'Golo Kante being a World Cup winning duo there, would that move make sense to you? Me personally, from like an individual player perspective, I think Paul Pogba is an amazing player and I'd love him at Chelsea. However, priorities have to be addressed before a player like Pogba comes in. But yeah, Matisse, let me know what your thoughts are on the whole situation. Do you even think it's a likely scenario to happen, or is this just paper talk?
I personally don't think it will happen because I think he's set to go to Real Madrid. Because if you look at Modric and Toni Kroos, to be honest, that midfield was dominated last night. Yeah. PSG had all the possession. Real Madrid had no shots on target until like the 80th minute or something like that. Verratti, Pereira, all these guys dominated the midfield. So Real Madrid, as much as people on Twitter and all these sorts of places want to talk about Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, they are now, they do need a revamp. It's clear in the Champions League, as we saw it against us, and we've seen it last night against PSG. They are dominating the La Liga, a slower league. But when the speed and the tempo goes up, they are potentially there to get dominated. So they do need to revamp that midfield. That's shown with Camavinga coming in. That's shown with the potential. I think Pogba will come in. So I do think he's going there because I think they do know that they're going to have to replace those two very soon. As great as they are, generational midfield free. You know what I mean? We're talking about a three-peat, unbelievable achievements, but you need to keep it moving into the next era. So I think Pogba will go there. Now, would I take Pogba at Chelsea? Absolutely, I would, because you talk about so many things that we struggle with as a team, creativity, even shooters from distance, a playmaker, all these things that Pogba brings to it. Pogba for me is like one of the best midfielders in the world in terms of his ability and technical ability, all rounder. He can do everything. The only issue with Pogba has been consistency. And I think that's mainly to do with Man United having multiple managers like us, no stability, and the environment's not great. People talk about attitude and commitment. I don't want to hear it because I've never heard a bad thing come out of this guy's mouth. I've never heard a bad thing come out of the players that he's surrounded with. I've never heard or seen a bad thing that he's done in public to distract from the team. So I don't think there's attitude issues or any of that shit that gets thrown about. I think Pogba would have a new lease of life because he'd have a point to prove that under Tuchel. Tuchel's the perfect manager for him as well. And obviously he hasn't won a Premier League title yet. So I think he would be brilliant here. But I do agree with you as well. I don't think it's going to happen, and I think we're looking at DMs as well. So as much as I would love to have Pogba, maybe if we had signed Tchouaméni in the summer instead of Saul, then we would have the DM replacement. For the guys that are getting older, we could ease them in like Liverpool do. People keep bringing up that point to me. Yes, I do love that, but at the same time, you've got to actually then bring in the player for that to happen. Facts. Then Pogba right now would make perfect sense because you've got Tchouaméni there. You've got a nice balance between youth and experience. People coming back but. We ain't got that. So you can't put Pogba in the team and then not have the person next to him to balance that shit out. And people talk about Kante. Kante is not a player you can play every single game. Like, he's going to get injured. We know this now. We know that Kante picks up injuries. So that's not a reliable solution in terms of a pivot for the long term. So you need to prioritize bringing in that balance, man.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And then if you look at Pogba in that France team as well, I think part of the reason, well, a huge reason why he thrived so much was because he had Kante at the time, who was more fit than he was, and he also had Matuidi as well to sort of help him do the dirty work behind him. So he didn't really have to commit too much to coming back because he had those two there to help screen that defense, which worked in his favor. So I absolutely agree with you, man. I think if Tchouaméni did come in the summer, it would be a conversation that we could have. But the way I see Chelsea and how I think they should operate on this one, because look, I don't think anyone would complain if Pogba came to the club, but if we're talking about being sensible, I think Chelsea would probably, in terms of midfield, I think obviously Tchouaméni and Rice would be the priority ahead of Paul Pogba. And I actually see us trying to sign the both of them ahead of trying to get Paul Pogba, in my complete opinion. Although I do think in the summer we'll only get the one. But the Pogba situation, I'd love to see it happen, bro. I would, but it's just the timing isn't there. But this just goes to show, like, if the planning was right from the previous summer and we signed what we needed to sign, and you know, in the crucial positions that we needed, then this would have been a different conversation. I think a lot of people would have been a lot more welcome because tactically it would have made a lot more sense. But outside of Chelsea, let's say hypothetically, because we got to remember Real Madrid, right? They are a powerhouse, yes. But if you look at their summer transfer targets, bro, it's not going to be cheap. Mbappe on the free. Apparently, Haaland is favourite to go there. They're also looking at Tchouaméni. We can never rule out Real Madrid in any transfer chase. But I still feel that if we want him, he's going to come to us. But it's going to be an expensive summer for them.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
You reckon
Real Madrid? Do you know what? We're lucky with Real Madrid that they're looking at Mbappe, because, and that's gonna obviously take up a lot of the wages. I don't know if they're really gonna go for Erling Haaland. I'm not sure, because obviously Benzema's still doing his thing. I personally feel like Benzema is a better complement to Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. than Erling Haaland would be.
Yeah, because of his skill set. He's a
you're looking
100%.
Yeah, like you're looking at free runners there if you have them free. Obviously, unbelievable footballers, but I think in terms of gelling together, that's going to take a lot longer for Real Madrid to gel together. Then people will probably give it credit for. You know, Erling Haaland wants to go in behind, Mbappe wants to go in behind, Vinicius wants to go in behind, although Vinicius could maybe drop in a bit as well. I don't know. It would still work, but I think Benzema is definitely the better fit. Complete all-rounder. He's used to sacrificing himself for other forwards like Ronaldo, etc. But I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid go for Tchouaméni, because, you know, why would they not? Again, it's a situation where you have the possibility of having a Pogba, Tchouaméni, and Camavinga midfield. That, as a midfield, for the next decade, or not even next decade, because Pogba's obviously getting older, but even for the next 3-4 years, that midfield there, you have covered all bases. Yeah. All bases. You've covered the
level as well.
Bro, they're all French, so they're all chemistry should be on point as well. You've got, you know, so there's no communication issues. You got skill, you've got physicality, you've got tackles and interceptions, you've got control, you've got everything that you could possibly look for. You've got age and experience, bro. It makes too much sense. And we're not the only ones looking at Tchouaméni. And this is why I say what I say. Like, if we had got him last year, we were the only ones that were really knocking on the door last year. Petr Cech wanted him. He was scouted, right? But we let him stay there for an extra year. Maybe Fabregas told Chelsea to keep him.
I wanted to know, how true is this rumor? Because I heard this, but like the more I'm hearing, like as the season goes on, the stories just keep changing.
Yeah,
it's Chelsea did first it's that, and then Chelsea didn't want to pay 25 million or something. I have no idea, bruv. So,
bro, maybe it is, you know, partly that both sides said he should probably stay there for one more year to develop. But in saying that, you know, now we are gonna have to pay premium, so it's not really very helpful in the same. You know, you have to pay a premium for waiting another year for someone to get even better, and then more clubs get interested. So there is a price to pay. When I said what I said, and obviously that's been the talk on my channel as well, and we spoke about on George Benson's channel yesterday. When I say what I say, it's not just those two options. You can. There's other players. I mentioned Basuma, although put asterisks next to his name. There's a case, so you don't.
Yeah, we've got to treat that one carefully.
You have to be careful with that one. then you have other players. This is why I say I would love Pogba as well, because Pogba could be Chelsea's Fabregas, really, well and truly, as long as you've got the balance next to him. We talk about Fabregas Matic partnership of someone that has the creativity, that can see the pass from a distance, that can be the deep line playmaker and actually, pull up assists. Pogba's been injured. He's missed some of the season, I think. He's still up there for assists in the Premier League. He's right up there with Kova and obviously progressive passes and whatnot. It's just about refreshing things, and I just look at it and I say to myself, these midfielders are all going to move within the next summer or two, and Kamara is available on a free. Again, another player I like, not as highly as the other ones that I mentioned, but again, another very good player available. I think all these players are going to move in the next 1 or 2 summers. Bellingham, same at Dortmund, he'll move in 2023. I think after Erling Haaland as well. If you don't get them, because you hold on to the past and nostalgia, not even nostalgia, just emotional attachment. You hold on to the past too much. We may Fugazi one more title out of these experienced players. We may. But the way Man City and Pep moving at the moment with these 90 points aspirations, I personally don't think so. I think they'll get gassed.
They're moving nuts.
They'll get gassed around the winter time. It won't happen. But if we get one title, do you remember Mourinho when we had all those young players and we wanted to get that one title? But then we didn't think of the next 3-4 titles because we got rid of. That's the same thing that's happening right now.
Yes,
that's the same shit, bro. Same shit. So it looks bad right now from me because obviously I'm saying something crazy unpopular. I'm talking about 2023. I'm not talking about both going now, both going then. I'm saying one in, one out, one in, one out to move into the next era. But it's looking bad on my part because we're world champions. Because we're European champions.
But this is the thing is, I have to disagree with you there on that. It looks bad on your part. I think it's just a matter of foresight, and I have to fully agree with you, which is why I made this a topic on the channel. I back what you said. So basically, what people don't know is that Matisse was saying that he mentioned it was an unpopular opinion, but he wouldn't mind seeing Jorginho and Kante going if we were to replace them correctly and assume. And obviously, he mentioned Tchouaméni, Declan Rice, and obviously Asterix Bissouma being the 3 targets. Now, if you've got any bit of foresight and you see the quality of these players and like he said several times, the trajectory of these players, I think Matisse is right to say so because look, do you want to keep? Listen, I understand. We've got to respect Jorginho. We've got to respect Kante for the stuff they've done for the club. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we 100%.
Do. Exactly.
But it's a thing where like you also have to be real in football because there's that balance of emotion and being objective. Yeah, when you look at the next 5 years and you look at the progression span of these players, Declan Rice and Tchouaméni, their ceiling is at elite level. Kante and Jorginho have already they've hit in
they have peaked.
They've peaked already, bro. That's what I mean.
I love Jorginho, bro. I love Jorginho, but if you think he's going to peak from that Ballon d'Or thing, then it's not gonna happen. Not in this league. Exactly. I promise you, it's not gonna run in this league, bro.
Exactly,
he's peaked, bro. We've seen it. Do you know what I'm saying? And Kante, the main issue with him is the injuries. I mean, bro, you know what? You only have to look at Palmeiras, right? Just recently, that game. We didn't play Jorginho because of the transitions and the counters. I said it in my preview again. The thing is that I love is that everybody knows how much I love Jorginho. I backed him when most of this fan base were booing the shit out of him, telling him he needs to leave. I've always respected and loved this guy. So no one can come to me and tell me it's an agenda against Jorginho. I'm one of the few people that speak publicly that have really backed this guy properly through thick and thin. So I'm
critical of Jorginho way more than you are. So
yeah, no one can even chat to me in terms of Jorginho. But when it comes to Jorginho, even that game against Palmeiras, we had to take him out. We had to because those transitions that bro, even when we took the lead, bro, they didn't want to attack. That just goes to show you what the game plan is. The game plan is to literally sit deep and transition the shit out of us. And Tuchel knew that. And we spoke about it in the preview, hence why Kante and Kova had to start. Kante wasn't even that great. You know, in a possession-based team, Kante is more known for covering the world, right? Covering everything that's not water. That's Kante. On the ball, still a very, very good footballer. No disrespect whatsoever. But when you're trying to cut open a team and you're trying to create chances and you're trying to find that final pass in the final third, Kante is not that guy.
He's not that guy,
or at least he's not as good as other people are at that. So when Kante is dribbling and he's moving into the final third and you're looking for that pass, that pass, that De Bruyne moment where we can say, okay, here's a clear-cut chance. He can't do that. So he is limited in some respects. And the problem with Kante is that I can love Kante as much as I do, but you bring up a few things that he's not perfect at. oh, you fucking hate him.
Yeah,
You're crazy. Oh my God, how could you say he's injury prone? How could you say that his final third pass is not on Fabregas level? You can say a few things about Kante that isn't he's perfect at everything, and people will just be like, yeah, you don't like him because of obviously the fact that he's Kante, right? Yeah. World-class footballer, unbelievable. But I've been saying that we do need to get a successor for him because he's not going to play every game. And then when he's not in the team, everybody starts shitting themselves. So if another club would have seen Kante's injuries 2 years ago and they would have said, cool, great player, but let's make sure that we have someone who can do, not on his level, but just do something slightly close to similar what he can do. So then when he is out, we can still function like a normal team. But instead, we haven't done that. We've decided that we're not going to cover for him. We're not going to try and ease another person in. And then when he's not available now, everybody's like, oh my God, we have nobody to replace Kante.
No, yeah, 100%. And this comment here, there's a lot of midfielders out there, not only Rice and Tchouaméni. You're absolutely right. But those are the two that are A, quote unquote, available, and B, when we're talking about in that position, those are the ones who right now, in my opinion, are the clear youngsters of everybody else in terms of what they're doing. And the way I look at Chelsea and expectations I have, we should be looking at the top three players in every position, whether they're young or in their prime. That's what we should be doing. So that's why those two are the names I mentioned. Bissouma, yes, I think he's a good player. I also
there's another one at Lyon as well. I haven't watched him as much. Cornet.
Someone said it in here. I've been seeing much of him though. So Kakare from Lyon. That's
sorry,
what yeah,
I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Yeah.
The other one I've seen more of is Boubacar Kamara. I've seen him, although he's I'd say he hasn't been as consistent as he's been in past seasons. I think I don't know. Well, he's young, innit? Like, I don't like to say he's dropped off when he's young because that's part of their development curve. Sometimes form goes out the window. But in terms of my definite two choices, it's got to be them two. And I'm greedy. I want the both of them. But moving away from that defensive midfield position, Chelsea apparently are still looking at Raphinha from Leeds, long-term target of Chelsea. How true this is, I don't know. As long as if it doesn't come from the player's mouth or an official source, I never say it's 100%, but I do feel that there are truths to it. Raphinha, is that would you put him up there as one of your first choice wingers to sign at Chelsea?
This is where I'm not as definitive, right? Because the attacker's given me PTSD for so many years now. I don't really know exactly what direction to go in because two things. I don't know what formation we're going to play on like most of the time. I don't know what Tuchel's plan is formation-wise long-term. Does he want to go to a back four next season? Does he want to stay with the three? Are we going to go with three attackers? Are we going to go with a front two? Because Lukaku probably suits the front two better, some would say. It depends on who we keep. Because if we keep certain players, they suit other players in terms of combination play. So I'm not going to even pretend that I'm definitive. I just know who I like. And then after that, it depends on so many factors and variables. I do like Raphinha. I do. I like Nkunku as well at RB Leipzig. I like Gerard Bowen. The more I'm starting to see Bowen this season, the more I'm liking him. I don't think he's a superstar, but I do think he could be like a Pedro for us where he gets goals. He's very efficient. He's very good in his duels as well. From what I see, whenever he's got like a little shoulder-to-shoulder moment, he seems to be well equipped for the Premier League. And I think he could bring a bit of balance. But so I like a few players, but I don't know exactly who we should get because I don't know how we plan on even approaching the sales. Who we're going to get rid of. If we get rid of Werner and Lukaku, then maybe we go with like Broja, Havertz, and then we go with like a false nine, or we got. There's so many different ways we could take this because we're in a weird position where we don't really know who's going to stay and who's going to go. Werner, is he going to stay or go? Is Pulisic going to stay or go? Hudson-Odoi is going to go out on loan. It's like I have no idea. So I like those three names, but I don't know what we're going to do. I have no idea.
Well, Chelsea have just, I don't know if they've hired or they're in talks of getting a director of football or director of sport or something like that. But the title, I think the job description is basically a director of football. And they were speaking to The guy's last name is Lanez. He was in Barcelona. He was a sporting director at Barcelona. So apparently he's going to be in charge of all of the footballing matters, which means that Marina and them will be left to business. Personally, I think it's a good shout. Whether that's the right person for the job, I don't know. I don't know too much of him. The two that I know more of is Campos and Monchi. Those are the two that I know, and they do a really good job. Obviously, Campos done an amazing job at Lille. Monchi done an amazing job at Roma. I would have loved to see them at Chelsea, sort of helping up, sort of picking up from where Michael Emenalo left off from, because I felt that he scouted quite a few decent players. He was the one that brought in that Belgian contingency. Who apparently under him we got Salah and them, but obviously they were shipped out of the club. So I say that to basically say, does that give you a bit more confidence going into the summer that Chelsea are serious now that they've hired somebody who is specifically for that job, who quote unquote understands the game more than like a Marina would?
I don't know, because I haven't done my due diligence on this guy in particular. I need to go through his whole career and clock whether he's like the guy, you know, because Barcelona are a strange club. They've got Pedri, they've got Gavi, they've got Fati. So there's been some good youth, you know, development going on there. But then they also signed Coutinho, Griezmann, Dembele for over 100 million. And if he's part of that, if he's part of that, then it's a 50-50, isn't it? You know, I like Luis Campos a lot. That's someone I know a lot better. You know, he was part of that team that built that Monaco team, built that Lille team.
I built Monaco as well. Yeah, you're right.
Lille, Monaco. So his track record I've always loved. I think he's great. He's great eye for talent. So someone like that I know better. So I would prefer them because I know what their history is. I know what their CV is. But as long as, you know, they've done their due diligence on him and Tuchel is obviously happy to work with him as well and he rates him, then it is a good step because it means that hopefully there's a plan. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself too much because I don't know what he's capable of in terms of good and bad. And also, we just see Tottenham brought in a director of football, technical director from Juventus, and then they go and sign Emerson Royale, and he's fucking shit. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just come off a stream with Toby talking about it. Emerson Royale is absolutely dog shit, and they just brought in a technical director. So, yeah, I gotta think about. I gotta do my due diligence before I comment on this guy. I don't know I don't really know him that well. I'm not gonna lie. He's not Tiki from Man City. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Hey, big up Diego C. Palace. Only 75 likes needed for 100 likes. What is going on here? I can see on the top left of my screen we've got 116 people in the building. I don't know if that's actually accurate numbers because YouTube, they go funny with that sometimes. But 25 likes is unacceptable, man. Smash them likes. Get them likes up. You get me? We're out here, bruv. Very cool. Hey, listen, I was about to wrap up, but this geezer's name, just keeps coming up. But for the right reasons. He's impressing me a lot, bro. He's techie as anything, bro. Yeah. But the only thing is with him is his lack of pace. But his technique is bang on. I like him, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, bro. He's gonna be a great signing for them. Like literally. He's got a 1-2 record, I think, for the last like 5-6 years in Germany, and then before that at AZ in Holland.
Yeah.
And I just look at him, I think to myself, 6'6", Burnley like to be direct. He can hold up the ball. You can cross the ball into him. He's good technically as well because he's Dutch, so he's got those fundamentals in him, those natural nutrients of that Dutch.
The
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know.
So it does suit Burnley very well. Do you know what I mean? And even coming from the Bundesliga, he knows how to take advantage of some space in behind, and Burnley will get that because they play counter. So I think it's the perfect fit. I really do. I think they've actually probably upgraded on Chris Wood and made a profit of like 10-15 million. So yeah, I think it's a very smart move.
No, absolutely. Two more questions before we wrap this up, because I know you've got a show that you're going to get on, and I like to give you breathing space instead of jumping from here to another. But so Lanez wasn't at Barca when they bought Coutinho and Dembele. He signed Pedri and Gavi, and he even scouted Dele Alli from MK Dons.
Okay.
Now, if that's true, then obviously that gives him a little bit more
credit.
credibility
Yeah, it
in
does.
the bank.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So it's not a bad look. Last one that we're going to discuss was because I've seen quite a few people that was asking about the left wing back and the right wing back situation. To me, it's mad because we're linked to, you see, with this position, we're linked with so many different people. It was Jorginho Dest, it was Luca Digne, now it's Araujo, now it's Bruno Sosa. Who is our targets? Then it's Livramento in 2023. That's the one that I believe will happen, though.
I really hope so.
Yeah, it has to, bro. It
has
to.
I really hope so, man.
But like, what is Chelsea? Does anybody know who Chelsea's actual targets are? Are they backups? Are they challenging for first team positions? What is going on here? Because that's definitely an area we need to strengthen going ahead of next season. 1000%.
You can go a bit longer, actually, bro. That just cancelled. So if you want to go a bit longer, no problem. Yeah, big up.
Yes, but Matisse a bit longer, people. Smash that like button.
Big up the chat. Bro, to be honest with these, it's weird, isn't it? Because people say backup left wing back, but we have to be careful because we don't know what condition Chilwell comes back into. We've seen with long-term injuries, Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, they've not come back the same. Chilwell is a very athletic player who relies on his pace, his dynamism, the fact that he can stretch teams. So that's the wrong player to get that type of injury. If he was more of a slow tempo type player, then the injury would be a big deal, but you would say he's not trying to, stretch them legs as much. But he is so athletic that this injury could really mess him up. Like, when Chilwell comes back, I want people to just be aware. I'm not saying it's going to be like this, but be ready for maybe 6-7 months of not the same Chilwell. Like, be very ready for that. So as much as we talk about, left wing back, we need to get someone who we can say, okay, if he's starting, I'm not worried. It has to be that kind of player. And on the right-hand side, then if we get Koundé, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea don't sign someone permanently at that position before Livramento, because Koundé's played right back for France. He may not be the God's grace, but he can play that role. I think Trevor Chalobah has been experimented at times at right back as well in training, so he could play that role. And then you could use someone in the youth system as well as like your fourth choice behind James as well. And then just wait 1 year. That's something that could realistically happen. I think
I can imagine. If we sign Koundé, him stepping into that position. You see what
as an emergency, innit,
bruv? You see what I love about Koundé and why it doesn't even bother me if he does. He is a baller. Have you seen him technically, bro? Even if he's got several players around him, he'll figure his way out. He's so good with the ball at his feet. He's so good from he breaks lines. He just creates opportunities out of nothing sometimes, just from the defensive position. He's just that baller. That's why I really want Koundé. I think, obviously, with Christensen going, if Koundé comes in, that softens the blow massively for me. I think the concern with Koundé, though, is just his height in the Premier League. But I don't think... I might be wrong here. Chat, let me know if I'm wrong, please. But I've always had the perception... How tall is Wesley Fofana?
I'm not sure. I'll Google it.
Because I don't know if he's like 6'1" or 6'2", but I know Koundé is roughly about that height. But if that's the case, then we've already seen a prototype there. And I think Fofana is a sort of a similar mold to Koundé, although I think Koundé is a bit more techie than he is. But I think him at that right wing back position, just to fit in until 2023 when Livramento is available, I think that would be a good shout. And there was also discussions that Reece James could potentially be going into a right centre back position, but that's dependent on whether Tuchel's going to dominate going forward with a back three or a back four. So that remains to be seen. Pedro Neves again with another good point. Although I don't like to be knee-jerk after seeing one or two performances from players, Jed Spence is somebody that has impressed me for Nottingham Forest on that right wing back position. Obviously,
really? Okay.
Arsenal. He's done his.
I've seen a few people bring him up. Yeah.
He's done his thing against Arsenal. He's done his thing against Leicester, obviously. But again, I don't like to be too knee jerk. You understand? I haven't seen enough of this player to be able to say, okay, cool. I trust this guy. 38 games plus a season to be either playing for Chelsea or backing up for Chelsea. I don't know. But I'll certainly say what I've seen of him, especially going forward, he does look like he could potentially be a good player. I wouldn't mind. Do you know what? Is anyone in the chat watch Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to hear about this guy.
I'd love to, because I want to know some in-depth detail.
It'd be lovely to hear,
to see what they would think if he would be joining a top club. So they're saying Koundé is the same height as Aspi. So not that tall.
But the thing is with Koundé, from everything that I've heard and obviously seen as well, the guy has a very good leap. So, it was a concern for me about back four but not in a back three. Because I know back three, he him on the right hand side and the back three stepping into midfield would be fucking beautiful. It really would. But apparently his leap is so good that it kind of makes up for the height. So it's calmed me down a bit in terms of those fears. Because whenever you see a defender's height in the Premier League, you do worry against Weghorst, right? You know what I'm saying? Someone like that. Imagine 6'6" Weghorst against Koundé. But I think, listen, Koundé doesn't have to start every game.
No,
you manage him. Sometimes you play him, sometimes you don't. So
yeah,
I
mean,
he's
a top quality. He's got a massive ceiling on him. Like he can be a top quality centre back in the future. But it's just for that. Sometimes you don't pick a player not because they're not good enough. It's just for the technical reasons. It's what the game calls for.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah. So you're right in that respect. Another name coming up for that left wing back position is Cucurella of Brighton, and he's been impressive. Now it's interesting because when Lampard was manager, we was actually linked with him, and I remember quite a few fans not really being too keen on bringing him to the club. But he made the right move going to Brighton because a lot of eyes are on him now, and obviously he's going to be seen in the Premier League. He definitely done his thing against us. Would you take him at the Bridge?
I liked him. I've liked what I've seen. I've seen a lot of Brighton recently, obviously, because I've been looking at Tariq Lamptey a lot as well. And Brighton are a very good football team.
Yeah, they are.
They've got some really nice players.
Great,
and he's one of them.
I think
he's one of them. The only thing that Brighton really has been missing for them is their attack. That's the only thing that's been stopping them from going even further. But they're still, I think, 9th in the Premier League, so they're having a very good season. I like him a lot. I would, from what I've seen recently, especially, I think we could trust him to do that role, and really it's all about price point. We just don't know what Brighton are going to charge, isn't it? Premier League tax, from one club to another, there's going to be a hefty fee on it. So I don't even really know what I value him at in terms of price point as well. He's just someone that I just really like. He looks really good as a footballer. Seems to be really well rounded. There doesn't seem to be any obvious massive flaws in his game. So someone of that ilk would be great, yeah. But, and this is where we have to slow it all down right now because we haven't brought it up yet. There is a certain issue called Marcos Alonso, and this brother he's on a nice pay package. His contract does expire in 2023, but he's on a nice pay package. He's also at the peak, which he knows in terms of the football club that he's playing for. He knows it's not getting better than this. It's only going downhill from here. So I expect him to see out his contract personally until next season, when he goes maybe on a free. If we allow him to do that, I would love to sell him in the summer. I've been trying to hopefully get him sold the last 3-4 summers, but not 3-4. That's extreme. But 2-3.
No, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you, bruv. It's got to a point where if Marcos Alonso left Chelsea on the free, I wouldn't bat an eyelid, and that's no disrespect to him because again, if we win this Carabao Cup, I think you told me this as well. I think you reminded me that he will be one of the players that would have won every single trophy at Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
So respect will be put on his name when he leaves the club, regardless of the situation, because he has been a good servant for the club. And could you imagine the middle finger if he lifts that Carabao Cup? The middle finger to all the trolls. You can say what you want about Marcos Alonso. He's just going to turn around and say, "Excuse me, I've won more than your best captain of the club. I've won more than John Terry. I've won more than Frank Lampard. I've won more than Drogba." What are you telling me? There's nothing we can say. There's nothing that anybody can say. But as for him having a future at this club, no, he needs to bounce. Yeah. And I heard some statements the other day that was concerning. He said, "I don't want to leave Chelsea. I feel good here. I want to see out the rest of my career at Chelsea." I was like, no, somebody get him out of this club. Your time is done and dusted, cuz. It's finished. Trust me.
I seen that quote, bro, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. and the feeling is, I wouldn't put it beyond Chelsea to do something crazy like that because they renewed Bakayoko.
Bro, they renewed Bakayoko, and now look at what the situation is. AC Milan are gonna send his ass home. Why? Because he doesn't adapt to their system. Right? So now we got this brother on the books for longer. We should just accept our L and just let it go. Like Frozen, just let it go, bro. Do you know what I mean? What's with this renewal nonsense? I know they want to make some money back, but sometimes, bro, you just have to accept that this is an L. This is an L.
Do you know what it is? I don't know if I'm right in even blaming Marina for this, but it just feels like sometimes she always has to come out the winner. She can never, ever, she can never take a loss. She can, and some players you just have to take the L for. Like for Kepa, for example, as good as he's been, the performances that he's put in, you can't have a £72 million goalkeeper on the bench as a second option. That's on them 6 figures a week, bro. You can't, bruv. Yep. You can't. And it's better. And as much as some of the Kepa's grown more on me, you get me? He's that player that's pissed me off, loved him. He's a love it or hate it kind of guy, depending on what season Kepa's in his own personal self. But for his own benefit, he's got to go. He has to go. He's got to go and play football somewhere else and perhaps take that next step in his career that he thought he was going to get at Chelsea.
He does. Bro, as you were speaking now, I'm just like remembering all of the times where we're just not the times where we're letting players go that are younger, that are, it's not even about them making it here, because people say, oh, Cobham this, Cobham that. It's actually just about, we'll make more money with a player that could develop into a mid-table Premier League team that we have as a backup.
Yeah.
If we just kept to develop them a little bit longer as a backup, instead of Bakayoko or someone like that being in the position, and then we sell them for like 10, 15, 20 million. Like, we could actually make money from our depth being some developing young players than we would from the likes of Bakayoko still being here. That's what frustrates me. It's like, I know we're trying to make money this way, but we could also make money that way. But we can't make money both ways because there's only so many players that can fit into a squad, or so many players that can go out on loan. FIFA rules coming in soon. So I just think, I don't know. I think we could do better in this department of trying to make money in this way.
100%. Yeah, something's definitely got to change in terms of our transfer policies that are outgoing as well as incoming. We have to really fix up on that. I just seen something from the Athletic UK. I will make this the last bit of talking point for the show today. It's understood that Chelsea are prioritizing Antonio Rudiger over Andreas Christensen. Chelsea's hierarchy are upset that Christensen walked away from 2 contract offers they felt had been agreed. That is quoted from the Athletic. Personally, how I feel about that, I love Christensen. I think he's a good centre-back. And I think from what we've seen of him from academy to now, he's overcome a lot of things for him to be the centre-back that he is. I sympathise with him because if you look at it from a personal perspective, right now, he's not even on 100K a week. And you've got men like Marcus Alonso that are on the 140s and this and that. And then you've got Danny Drinkwater on 120s and that. So obviously you can understand why Andreas is going to feel that way, bro, if that's the reason. And then you've got other clubs like, because this interest from Barcelona, this isn't the first time. They've been knocking on his door for years now. They've been wanting him ever since he was on loan to, was it Mönchengladbach? Where he was, I think he was like young player of the season for 2 years for them or something like that. That loan stint that he went on. They've been on him since then. So if Christensen's looking at it like, yo, after all this time, Barcelona is still on me and they're willing to pay me wages that I feel like I deserve, I can't knock him for that.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah,
and
so
I'll never get angry with a player because they are not getting what they feel they're worth, and they then decide to go elsewhere. Like, this is a very short career. They got to make their money, because some of them are not going to be coaches and they're not going to be pundits and they're not going to be managers. They're going to be normal members of society that just do nothing, or just do other things. Do you know what I mean? So, and he knows right now he's at his peak in terms of his valuation so far in his career. He's just won a Champions League. He's had his best calendar year last year of his career. So he wants to get as much money as possible. So I don't like the way it's been done in terms of like the back and forth and 1 minute we agree, then we don't. 1 minute, but listen, it is where it is. Do you know what I mean? This is business, and in business, there's conversations that take place, and things can go well, they can go badly. So if he goes, I wish him the best of luck. I can't wait to see what he accomplishes. As long as it's not in the Premier League, I'm all good, and I don't think he will go to another Premier League team. So I ain't got no issue. And if he stays, then fantastic. But as long as we don't lose Christensen and Rudiger, then I'm good. Like, I've made peace with the fact one of them will go. But if 2 of them go, it's a bit long. I'm not gonna lie. But
you know what? It's gonna sound mad as well, Matisse. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, I would be the opposite way around. But I think prioritizing Rudiger is the right decision to make because of the senior. Well, he's one of the few seniors in that back line that's going to remain at Chelsea if that's the case. Because remember, Thiago Silva is what, 37 now? He ain't got much left to go. Azpilicueta looks like he's not going to be renewing. Alonso's going to be on his way out. So how many centre-backs does that leave you with that are north of what, 25, 26 years old? Not that many.
Not many, yeah.
See what I mean? So
it's a position where experience is everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think they done right to prioritize him. Hopefully they give Rudiger what he wants, because I'm pretty sure what he wants is what he deserves, because he's come out and he said, I'm not asking for 400k a week like what people are reporting. You see what I mean? And even to give this man, if we was to say, okay, cool, take 300k a week or even on par with N'Golo Kante, I wouldn't even complain with that. Because obviously Kante being the highest paid player at the club, I wouldn't even, sorry, it's not even Kante, but they're trying to make Kante the highest paid player at the club. Lukaku,
I think Kante is the highest paid player at the club, I think.
I thought it might have been Lukaku, but even still,
it is Lukaku now. You're right.
Even still, Rudiger deserves to be in that bracket. And Marvel, yes, I was actually going to come on to Colwill as well. That is another big shout. Exactly, Christensen going. We don't have to worry about youth coming back into the team for that position. We've got the option of Colwill. We've obviously Kunde coming to the club, so he can be replaced. It's not be all or end all if he does leave Chelsea Football Club. Obviously, I love him, love what he's achieved. I respect what he's been through, because he went through a lot of mental torment becoming a professional player. Like, he suffered a lot from anxiety. And just things like that would hinder him in games and stuff. But he's come over that and he's become the player that we're seeing now, integral in our Champions League win. Just growing into that role, man, in my personal opinion. But yeah, Matisse, let the people them know what you've got coming up. I'm gonna bring this show to an end now, but let the people them know.
For me, I've got London Clubs Carnage going on at 5. With Toby and Corey. No Lee today, unfortunately, but Corey and Toby is there. It's a great conversation at 5 o'clock. So that's going live there. Then I'll be doing the Inter Milan Liverpool game on Twitch at 8. So yeah, that's the content coming up today. Absolute pleasure, bro, to get these things discussed, because I don't do lives on YouTube obviously that much now, or at all now, apart from, on Twitch now. So it's good to come on live on YouTube and discuss with the comments for sure, man. Big up.
Nah, definitely. Thank you very much for joining me on the show. I'm going to be having Lee Gunner on the show later on live. Not sure if it will be after the Champions League. Well, yeah, it's going to be looking like it's going to be after, innit? Because it's a bit close to cool. And I know he's on a live right now, or he might be doing live. But either way, he's going to be on the show. Make sure you switch on them notification bells to know when the next show is coming up. Obviously, smash that like button, and if you are new to this channel, make sure you do hit the subscribe button. I do see the analytics and quite a bit with you, although it's not as bad as it was before, but I've still got like 38% of people that watch that are not subscribed to the channel. That needs to be fixed, people. You get me? But yeah, man, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you do stay safe. Matisse's details are down there in the descriptions, all clickable links. I've made all the work easy for you. You get me? Same here with Man Knows Football and my personal accounts. Make sure you give those a follow. But until later on, big up everybody in the chat. Big up everybody who'll be watching later. And